Hey peeps, it's Lord Lav. Been out of the game for a little while on the old YouTube videos. I've been busy, spending ages. I was trying to make this crazy sort of live set idea I've been working on, but that's pretty much done now. So I'm all about trying to focus more on these YouTube videos now. So this video is going to be showing how I put a garage slash grime esky type beat together that's got some kind of mad East Asian sort of flavours to it. Hence the sort of, this phrase is a Wiley Type Beat. I'd call it that just because it's got the kind of it's got that sort of esky flavour to it. So obviously that's part of the influence there. So shout out to Wiley. But yeah, it's a beat, it's a vibe. I'm pretty proud of it. It's got some mad kind of chord extensions in there, so it's on some jazzy type vibe as well. But anyway, I hope you like it. Check it out.
Okay, peeps, so I started stuff off just with these real garagey sounding drums. I started off with a project. Now, this is kind of a mix of sort of garage influence mixed in with some grime influence. Like, the drums are very, like, quintessential UK garage type, two-step type drums, but the BPM's very much, as you can see here, like 144 BPM, which is kind of more in the grime sort of drill sort of dubstep sort of speed. Got some real kind of classic, just utilize the basic UK garage type sound drums, and yeah, just come up with a drum pattern that sounds like this. And if you want to have a look at how that's broken down, you can see that here. So I've got the kicks here, sort of switched up the velocity a little bit so it's sounding like a bit more varied. Snares here, quite hard on the snare, but changed that up a bit. And then got a couple of like hi-hat sounds or cymbal sounds. So you got like this here that's sort of varied in velocity, so it's just gives it a bit more of a live feel. And yeah, this cymbal here, same thing. So that is that to start. So working on this a little bit more, I've added a bass line here, which is kind of just like a real basic 808 type of bass line. I'm gonna give it more of like a garagey sort of sound. You can also see I've split the drums up just so it's easier to mix them down a bit better. You can sort of see that here. Got, yeah, all the the open, the close hat, and the snare and the kick, that's split. And I also added a sort of reverse little sound effect here as well. But you can just hear the bass line here, which is real basic. See that here? It's just basically just a sine wave. It's basically just a sine wave, and yeah, just a little bit of a slower sort of attack, high sustain, release. Played about with the pitch, modulating that with envelope 1, which is here, and then the cut-off's being modulated by envelope 1, and so is the oscillator level. I'm just using this one oscillator here, so it's real basic kind of synth. Real basic sort of bassline synth. Just gonna add some distortion to this now to give it more of a sort of a grimy type, bring out more of those nasty sort of high sounds. But yeah, you can hear that like this. That makes a pretty big difference when you couple that with the drums. You can hear the drums of that as well. And you can hear this little reverse sound as well. Now for me, this is where more of the fun starts. I got this nice sounding Chinese violin here, and you can see there it's like 2 octave, but I'll just show you what it sounds like, just basic sound. It's just this. And that's okay, but it's a bit bland, a bit basic, just like that. So I've done some more stuff to make it more interesting. So we got an extra octave of it here, so let's unmute this octave just so you can hear it fully. And that's cool, but that's still too bland. So what I also did is I added the chord trigger on here. I'm pretty good with my music theory, although I can't play an instrument fantastically well. But if you know this, you can sort of understand what it sounds like. So what I've done is I've set it up the chord trigger just so that every time I press a key, it will play a sort of it will be a minor 9 chord. It's not just a basic minor 9. I've sort of changed it a little bit. But say if I press C2, that sounds so much better. You see that if I press C2, so it's basically a minor 9. So it's like a E flat there. What was that? It was a B flat there, and then you've got a D, which would be like makes it a minor 9 rather than just a minor chord, and a G up here. So I've played about with it. I'll probably do a tutorial just going through some of the basics of music theory so you understand that, but that makes it sound so much better. So you've got a minor 9 playing there, but I've doubled it up, so it's not just one minor 9, it's 2 sets of minor 9 because it's on each octave. So that sounds significantly better. That makes it sound like this. And I love that. Okay, the next part, I took that same Chinese violin and I split it in two and muted each side and basically made sure it was panning from left to right each time. So you heard what it sounded like earlier. This is what it sounds like now. So there's that. And then I also added like a staccato type cello bass. On a basic level, that just sounds like this. Which is kind of a similar, if you remember what the bass line sounded like, it's pretty much the same sort of riff as that. But I chorded this one as well. Now, in terms of chords, the Chinese violin was like a minor 9. This is just like a minor 7 playing, so that sounds different now. It sounds like this. Also, I took the same cello sound, but I also changed up the chord. It's still... But I just created this kind of crazy chord. I created this is like a C minor 13 with the 5th up higher and the tonic, rather than it being where a tonic should be, which is the lowest note. I've put it way up. So if I were to press the note like C2 note, that makes that, which makes that sound a lot more interesting. That's this. And that's kind of an uncomfortable chord, really. It's got a lot of dissonance in it, especially in line with everything else, which some people might not like the sound of, but that's kind of... I'm not trying to make anything too super pleasing to the ear here. I want it to be a little bit uncomfortable and leave you feel a bit on edge, so that was an intentional move on my part. Then we got this other bit, which is the trumpet sound.
Bring on the trumpets!
What?
Bring on the trumpets!
And that's got a chord in it too, but just sounding normal. It's this. And my word, that is proper cheesy. But I don't care. Like, it just work with what you got. Nothing has to always be amazing and perfect. I only got like relatively sort of basic stuff, so I have to just work with what I've got. So I did a chord for this one, and the chord makes this. That makes that sound, those trumpets sound so much better. So you can see that that's like a minor 9 again. That's a minor 9, but with the tonic like way low to make it more bassy, and just flipping around, you know, with a different inversion, just to make sure that it's a little bit more interesting than just copying the exact same chord with all the different instruments. So it kind of almost gives it that sort of orchestral type of jazzy orchestra type feel, which I was sort of trying to go with this, which is merely just me playing around, because it's not necessarily a sound you normally hear on like a grime track or a garage track. You keep in mind this isn't perfectly mixed, but you can get a sort of flavour for it. So we're coming to the end now, and I'm just going to show you the last few extra sounds I used. So I took this real basic French horn sound, which sounds really boring on its own, but it sounds good in line with all the other instruments. Just generally, I didn't do any extra chords or anything with this one. This is just a basic horn like this. And the second sound I used is just this kind of wavy computer game sound I created just on the ES2 synth, which is here, and it's just the square wave, just split at different pitches, just so it kind of creates this. I used a LFO on it as well, just to create that kind of esky sort of sound to it. But that sounds like this. That makes that sound a bit more interesting. And another sound I used as well, which turns up once in a blue moon, is this right here. And sounds like a cheeky little lemming giving it a brr. And all that is just, it's actually just me, just with some reverb and an echo and a pitch shift on it. It sounds like this normally. Just gives it a kind of extra vibe to it, which makes it sound a little bit more interesting. The last sound I also used is this right here, and all it is just like I've called it, it's a blur pad, but it's basically just a kind of nice sounding, what do you call it? Nice sounding kind of choir type sound, just used on a synth, just to give it a kind of that breaks up, because it's quite an intense sort of sounding track. This just sort of breaks up the sound and sort of relaxes the mood a little bit, and that sounds like this. Yeah, and then that's kind of it, really. That is pretty much the track, but next thing you'll see is I'll just play the track just so you can understand what the whole thing sounds like altogether. So, this is what the overall track sounds like. Hope you like the sound of it. It's a bit dissonant, so might not be up everyone's street, but I'm pretty proud of this beat, and this is what it sounds like. I hope you enjoy it.
hope you enjoyed watching the video I put together. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. The icon looks like that. Give it one of them. That would be sick because it helps the video out quite a bit. Also, if you do like this video and you want to see more of these videos, I'm going to be putting out more of these more often now, then make sure you subscribe to my channel right below, and also make sure you click on the bell icon so you're notified every time I put a new video out, because I can't always put these videos out the same day every week because I've got plenty other shiz to do. And yeah, consider supporting me on Patreon if you can. You'll get early releases of tracks and early remixes of tracks as well, which I'll only put out on Patreon. So if you fancy supporting me, that would be really appreciated. That would be really appreciated if you get involved in that. Otherwise, you can always check me out on Spotify, so feel free to follow me there. As I say, subscribe to me on YouTube, and you can also follow me on BeatStars, because I'm eventually going to be putting out consistent beats for you to buy off us on there. So plenty of stuff going on. Big up. Until next time, this is Lord Lav. Peace.